On your demand, we're finally diving into a full-blown romantic anime.
You know the kind of love, heartbreak, misunderstandings, waiting, rejection, confessions, and enough drama to keep your therapist employed. But don't worry, I'm telling the story, so it'll stay family-friendly. No flying slippers coming at your screen today. Now do me a tiny favor, drop a like, share this video with a friend who desperately needs romance in their life, and when we're done, tell me in the comments what you thought of the anime.
Alright, let's jump in.
Our story begins with Shizuku Mizutani, a first-year high school student whose entire personality can be summarized as, grades first, humanity later.
On her very first day of school, she ends up sitting next to a guy named Haru Yoshida, who also gets suspended on the very first day. Yep, speedrunning academic failure any percent. Apparently, Haru beat up some upperclassmen, got suspended instantly, and after that, he never bothered coming back to school. Honestly, the guy collected a suspension before he collected attendance. Unlike him, Shizuku has one goal in life: study hard and make her dream come true. Friends, drama, romance, those are just distractions stealing valuable study time.
One day, her teacher hands her an envelope and asks her to deliver it.
That simple errand leads Shizuku to a local gaming center.
She asks the manager, Michin, if Haru is there. Michin calls him over, but Haru is already in a terrible mood because he just lost a game.
Skill issue.
The moment Michin says, someone from your school is here, Haru immediately jumps out the window and runs away.
Bro really chose parkour over having a normal conversation. Shizuku just stands there wondering if this guy escaped from school or from a zoo. Since Haru disappeared, she leaves the envelope with Michin and starts walking away.
But suddenly, Haru grabs her from behind.
He narrows his eyes and asks, "So, the school sent you to spy on me?"
Shizuku replies with her usual emotionless honesty.
"No, I just came to deliver something. And honestly, you should work on that attitude." Ouch.
Instead of getting offended, Haru smiles.
"Oh, so you came here as a friend. Cool, come visit me again." Buddy unlocked friendship after a 30-second conversation. Some of you watching have known people for 5 years and still don't text first. Back at school, Shizuku tells her teacher the delivery is done and reminds her about the study guide she was promised. The teacher agrees but asks for one more favor. Can you help convince Haru to come back to school?
His suspension is over, but he still refuses to return.
Shizuku shuts that idea down instantly. Nope.
One trip to that gaming center was already enough adventure for her lifetime. Later that day, while walking home, someone suddenly drags her into a nearby alley.
Relax, it's just Haru.
He tells her that his pet has gone missing and asks for help finding it.
Shizuku admits she doesn't really like animals and isn't exactly overflowing with compassion, yet she agrees to help anyway. See?
Underneath that stone-cold expression, there's at least a tiny bit of kindness.
Tiny, like microscopic.
Their search eventually brings them to a burger shop, where several guys are hanging around.
One of them is Yamaken.
Haru casually introduces Shizuku as his friend. She doesn't even get a chance to approve the friendship request.
A few of Haru's buddies immediately ask him for money. Without hesitation, Haru hands it over, and they leave. Watching this, Shizuku asks why he never comes to school. Then she bluntly points out that those guys aren't real friends, they only stick around because Haru keeps paying them. That hits a nerve. Haru gets angry, grabs his drink, and dumps the juice right over Shizuku's head. Real mature. As he walks away thinking he won the argument, Shizuku quietly picks up her milkshake and launches it straight at him. Perfect accuracy. Honestly, that throw deserved its own sports scholarship. The next day, the teacher gives Shizuku some bad news. If Haru doesn't return to school tomorrow, he'll be expelled. She asks Shizuku to deliver the message. So, once again, Shizuku heads to the gaming center. This time, Michin tells her Haru isn't there. With nothing else to do, she waits outside, casually practicing baseball. While waiting, she overhears Haru's so-called friends talking. Apparently, Haru has stopped giving them money. Turns out Haru has stopped handing out free money. And just like that, his friends decide they're done with him. Shocking, right? The ATM goes offline, and suddenly nobody wants to hang out anymore. As Shizuku listens, she notices Haru sitting nearby, quietly hearing every word. For the first time, the loud, reckless guy actually looks hurt. Seeing that, she walks over to those fake friends and calls them out for being absolute parasites. One of the guys gets annoyed and reaches toward her, but before he can touch her, Haru grabs his wrist. Then he pulls Shizuku away and tells her, "Let's get out of here." For someone who usually solves everything with punches, that was surprisingly mature. Afterward, Haru walks Shizuku home. On the way, he suddenly gets serious. "I'll come back to school tomorrow, because you're there." Then, without even taking a second to think, he drops the biggest plot twist of the episode. "I love you." Shizuku blinks. "You mean, as friends?" Haru immediately shakes his head. "No, both ways." Bro confessed like he was ordering fries. Meanwhile, Shizuku's brain completely blue-screened. The next morning, Haru actually shows up at school. Everyone stares at him like a wild animal just wandered into class. Honestly, they're not completely wrong. Feeling everyone's eyes on him, Haru starts acting even even weirder than usual, because apparently his social anxiety comes with bonus chaos. A senior tries to intimidate him, huge mistake. Haru immediately beats the guy up. Congratulations, he survived exactly 3 seconds. Shizuku tries her best to ignore Haru's non-stop antics, but the guy follows her around the entire school like an overexcited golden retriever. At one point, he's even about to argue with a teacher. When Shizuku tells him to calm down, he accidentally snaps at her too. The teacher sighs, hands Haru a relationship guidebook, and basically says, please, learn how to talk to girls without causing property damage. Haru actually reads it. Then he immediately hugs Shizuku because apparently the book said physical affection builds closeness. Yeah, maybe he skipped a few pages. He even keeps asking her to eat lunch with him, but Shizuku refuses. She has something much more important to worry about. At the entrance ceremony, someone else gave the freshman speech instead of her because they scored just 1 point higher. 1 single point. That's the kind of academic rivalry that keeps Shizuku awake at night. While looking at her homework, Haru casually notices a mistake and corrects it. That's when Shizuku realizes something surprising. The student who beat her by 1 point was Haru. Wait, the guy who punches people before saying hello is secretly a genius? Anime logic never disappoints. Annoyed with herself, Shizuku storms home without saying another word. The next day, while she's studying alone, a group of seniors corners her. They're the same troublemakers Haru fought before. Naturally, Haru rushes in to protect her. Unfortunately, his first punch misses the target and lands squarely on Shizuku. Great job, hero. Blood starts dripping from her face. After that, she decides Haru is completely insane and ends their friendship. A few days later, exam results are announced. Shizuku ranks first in the entire class. Normally she'd be celebrating, but instead, she feels strangely empty. So she visits Michin's sports center to see Haru. She proudly shows him her results, apologizes for what happened, thanks him for everything, and the two become friends again. As time passes, Haru slowly starts calming down. Well, by Haru standards, anyway. One day he tells Shizuku, I care about you just as much as you care about your studies. That catches her completely off guard. She actually blushes. Looks like someone is finally downloading the romance DLC. The two head out together for lunch. While walking, Shizuku notices Haru has become much quieter than before. Then, without warning, Haru grabs her and kisses her. Yep, no countdown, no permission, just straight into the season highlight. After kissing her, Haru looks completely confused. My heart isn't pounding like the relationship book said it would, even though I love you. Bro is out here treating romance like it's a science experiment. Meanwhile, Shizuku's face turns bright red. She's angry, she's embarrassed, she's confused, basically every emotion unlocked at once. Later, they eat together at a restaurant. Shizuku is so flustered by that kiss that she keeps ordering more and more food without even realizing it. Before meeting Haru, the only thing that ever excited her was getting good grades. Now she can't even focus on restaurant prices. Love really is the most distracting subject in school. The next day, a teacher is busy scolding Haru. The latest test results are finally out. Shizuku takes first place once again, and Haru comes in second. When she checks his score carefully, she notices he finished just behind her by the smallest possible margin. When the test papers are handed back, Shizuku notices something strange. Haru actually scored higher than she did. The only reason he lost first place was because he forgot to write his name on the answer sheet. Imagine being so smart that your biggest enemy is basic paperwork. Honestly, some of you watching have probably done the same thing. Right then, a tiny chick suddenly pops out from inside Haru's shirt. Yep, a whole bird. Because apparently his pockets weren't weird enough. Haru proudly explains, I found him on the side of the road. I'm keeping him. At this point, everyone has accepted that Haru operates on a completely different version of reality. Shizuku, however, has a different problem. Every single time she looks at him, she remembers that unexpected kiss. So instead of talking to him, she keeps avoiding him. Maybe because she's scared that she might actually start falling for this absolute menace. One afternoon after school, a girl comes running after Shizuku, trips, faceplants, and somehow still introduces herself. Meet Asako Natsume, one of their classmates. She desperately asks Shizuku to help her study for the upcoming exams, because if she fails, her online friends will never let her live it down. Shizuku politely refuses, so Natsume immediately drops to her knees and starts begging. If I fail, they'll unfriend me. They'll kick me out of the community. The priorities are certainly unique. The moment Haru hears the word community, his ears perk up. He agrees to tutor Natsume, but only if she arranges an offline meetup with her online friends and takes him along. Bro accepted the side quest instantly. The study sessions begin in the library. That's where Shizuku quickly realizes something. Natsume isn't just struggling, she's academically fighting for her life. Later, Shizuku was sitting outside school next to Haru's pet chick. Yes, we've all accepted the chicken now. Suddenly Haru sneaks up behind her and scares the life out of her. He's carrying an entire cabbage. Not for himself, for his pet, Nagoya. Honestly, this chicken eats better than most college students. Haru asks if she's seen Natsume because she suddenly disappeared. Shizuku says no, then quietly points something out. You're helping everyone because you want people to like you, but you shouldn't live your life worrying about whether other people accept you. For once, Haru answers answers honestly. I used to be scared of being alone, but not anymore, because I have you. Smooth, accidentally smooth, but smooth. As the final semester exams get closer, Shizuku discovers something completely new. She can't concentrate. She opens her books, reads the same sentence 5 times, and remembers Haru instead. Congratulations, she has officially caught the romance virus. Even while studying in the library, she can't stay focused. Meanwhile, a baseball player named Sasayan walks up to the library window and introduces himself. He asks the obvious question: how did someone like Haru become your friend? Sayan explains that he's known Haru since middle school. Apparently Haru almost never attended class for 3 whole years, and still managed to pass. Meanwhile, the rest of us panic after missing one lecture. Before Sasayan leaves, Shizuku asks him for a favor. Can you take care of Nagoya for a while? He agrees without much hesitation. A little later, Shizuku finds Natsume sitting alone with her books, looking completely defeated. Tomorrow is the exam, and she still understands absolutely nothing. Seeing how hopeless she looks, Shizuku finally decides to help her. At the same time, Haru is arguing with their teacher. The reason? He wants permission to keep Nagoya at school. Yes, he's genuinely negotiating school housing for a chicken. The next day, thanks to Shizuku's tutoring, Natsume barely passes the exam. By 2 points. Not pretty, but passing is passing. A deal is a deal, so Natsume introduces Haru to her online friend group in real life. Unfortunately, Haru acts exactly like Haru. Within minutes, everyone gets so uncomfortable that they kick Natsume out of the community instead. Mission failed spectacularly. Later that day, Haru goes looking for Shizuku. Meanwhile, Shizuku and Natsume are relaxing on the school rooftop. To celebrate passing, Shizuku asks Natsume to grab them a couple of drinks. When Natsume comes back, she finds Shizuku fast asleep. Haru is quietly sitting beside her, making sure she isn't disturbed. Seeing the peaceful moment, Natsume smiles and quietly walks away, leaving them alone. Several hours pass. When Shizuku finally wakes up, she realizes she slept through class. Instant academic panic. Haru calmly reassures her. Grades aren't the only important thing in the world. After waking up, Shizuku quietly opens up to Haru. She admits, I like you too. Mission accomplished, right? Nope. The second Haru asks if that means they're officially dating, Shizuku instantly backpedals. I was just kidding. Haru just stares at her. Wow, that's a pretty cruel joke. Congratulations, Shizuku. You somehow managed to confuse the most unpredictable guy in school. Back in class, Sasayan returns with Nagoya, explaining that he can't keep a chicken at his house anymore. Honestly, his parents deserve an award for even letting him try. The moment the teacher sees Nagoya wandering around the classroom again, she immediately starts yelling at Haru. At this point, even the chicken has a worse attendance record than some students. To solve the problem, everyone comes up with an idea. Why not build Nagoya a proper chicken coop at school? The teacher laughs it off. The principal would never approve that. Surprisingly, the principal actually says yes. Apparently, this school has much lower standards than we thought. Later, the group gathers in the library to plan everything. Haru, Shizuku, Natsume, and Sasayan start debating what kind of chicken coop they should build. Eventually, they decide to spend the weekend buying materials together. When Saturday arrives, everyone meets at Michin's sports center. Sasayan and Natsume get there first. They notice Michin handing cash to a young guy. Natsume immediately assumes the poor manager is being threatened for money. She has officially watched too many crime dramas. A little later, Haru shows up with a much simpler solution. Why don't we just buy a ready-made chicken coop? They check the price, and immediately realize it's way outside their budget. Never mind. Back to DIY mode. Shizuku arrives late because her little brother somehow managed to break her alarm clock. Little siblings. Agents of chaos since birth. Shizuku and Sasayan head to a hardware store to buy supplies. While shopping, they unexpectedly run into Haru's former fake friends, the same guys who used to milk him for money. Sasayan thinks Shizuku is in trouble. Without asking a single question, he throws a shopping basket at them. Excellent communication skills. The guys immediately start chasing them. Luckily, Haru shows up at the perfect time and reminds everyone why picking fights with him is usually a terrible life decision. After a quick beatdown, the group heads back outside. In the parking lot, everyone starts assembling the chicken coop. The wood is much harder than expected, so Haru leaves to borrow a chainsaw. Meanwhile, Natsume volunteers to buy ice cream for everyone. While they're waiting, Haru's old friends show up again. This time, Sasayan and Natsume panic. Oh no, they're back for revenge. But Yamakin quickly explains they're not looking for another fight. They're actually here to make peace. Of course, the second Haru returns, he immediately tries to punch them anyway. Some software updates clearly failed to install. Shizuku stops him and explains that they've genuinely changed. Then she surprises everyone by asking the former troublemakers to help finish the chicken coop. Sometimes giving people a second chance really does work. Just then, Natsume comes back carrying everyone's ice cream. Perfect timing. By the end of the day, the chicken coop is finally complete. Later, Haru and Shizuku walk home together. Haru smiles and says, ever since you came into my life, everything's been getting better. Even the people who used to use me have started changing. And honestly, I feel like I've changed too. This time, Shizuku doesn't run away from her feelings. I really do like you. Haru raises an eyebrow. You're not lying again, are you? She gently shakes her head. I wasn't lying before either. Haru thinks for a moment before saying, I think, the way you love someone and the way I love someone are just different. Shizuku smiles. If that's true, then let's start over. Let's fall in love properly this time. Now that's probably the healthiest conversation these two have had all season.